Partnerem programu Polityka Zagraniczna jest XTB, polski broker o globalnym zasięgu, w ofercie którego znajdziecie ponad 5400 różnych instrumentów finansowych. W XTB inwestowanie w prawdziwe akcje spółek z całego świata oraz fundusze ETF do kwoty 100 000 euro obrotu miesięcznie odbywa się bez prowizji. Rejestrując się do XTB za pomocą linku w opisie, wspierasz rozwój kanału. Hello and welcome to another episode of Polityka Zagraniczna, and it is my great pleasure to introduce today's guest, Iullia Mendel, former spokesperson to President Volodymyr Zełeński and the author of The Fight of Our Lives. Iullia, it is absolutely fabulous to have you here with us in such a special moment.
Marcin, yes, thank you for having me. Really a very significant day.
Yes, and of course we have to start with that. Joe Biden visiting Ukraine today. What does it mean for Ukrainian people? How does it change the prospects of this war? And how does it feel to have the leader of the most powerful country on the planet at your side in such a moment, in such a visual and real way?
Well, Martin, let me say that it's not only about politics. I was visiting the front lines in Kherson region, and I was in the headquarters of our military unit that fights there. And it was really a surprise for me to see that there are flags of Ukraine there, but also there are flags of the European Union and the United States. So even if the United States and European Union not fighting here, there is, the spirit here, and there is the belief in the spirit of the West. So the thing is that Ukraine had the last visit of, enjoyed the last visit of the American president back in 2008. And that was completely different country. It was 3 presidents ago. So it means that was the country without all those reforms that Ukraine has done on an enormous scale to join the European Union, but also it was the country without war. And now, we see these absolutely different conditions, different people, different type of mindset, and different country. And President Biden visiting in the role of the president to show the biggest support. But also, let's not forget that today is the day of the President's Day in the United States. And we joke here that there is no better place to celebrate this day than in Ukraine, and obviously than in Poland, right? And there is no better company than President Zełenski and President Duda. So for us, it's, for ordinary Ukrainians, it's almost a celebration. But there is something more significant because we are approaching to the pivotal moment in this war, and we believe that we can make this counteroffensive. But there are a lot of details to discuss, very hard questions to understand if this counteroffensive will be successful enough to return all our lands and actually to have the victory here. So these were the presidents, Biden and Zelensky, were discussing. That was what was at the table.
Yes, of course. I think that in hundreds of years, regarding the whole struggle with Russian imperialism, I think never before we had such a strong partner as the United States of America right now. So in that point of view, we are lucky because most of the times we were left alone with the bear to fight it alone. But regarding the future of Ukraine, I was following closely the security conference in München in Germany, and you could clearly see the 2 very different approaches towards the prospect of Ukraine in a European Union. There are countries which say that because of what is going on, we need to create a special way, fast track for Ukraine, bend the rules to give Ukrainians hope and give Ukrainians what they need right now. And to give them membership in the European Union as fast as we can. Of course, Poland, Baltic states are in favor of such option, the usual division. And there's also the other side of the argument, the other countries that say that everything has to be done by the book. They say yes, but not so fast. And instead, they propose the solutions like European political community, the idea of French President Emmanuel Macron. And I'm wondering, how is this perceived in Ukraine? The ideas like European political community as a step into right direction, or as a way to, as a trap to get stuck in another waiting room to European Union?
This another idea. I think it was taken to attention, but I actually did not hear really serious conversations about this for the reason that it will take even more time, probably, to create the new infrastructure and the rules, and then actually to see if Ukraine matches. Then, to have the European Union platform that already exists and already very matured and serious. So I guess it was taken to the attention, but there are no many details to understand what is meant. But I will tell you a small secret that I was talking to different diplomats of the European Union countries, and they are very positive about Ukraine joining the European Union. Though there are different prospects for this, like Ukrainian authorities think that it's possible to do in the next few years, like maybe 2, 3, 4. But obviously, the diplomats from other countries who are very positive, they positively think that Ukraine will join the European Union in 2029 or 2030. So already, in 2020s. So definitely, this will all depend only on the way how we implement our homework. And we definitely need to be very serious about that. Let me say the next year we are going to have another election. So it means that probably, we can have President Zełeński or we can have someone else in power. And this means there will be the necessity to this institutional provision of, power, institutional of memory, and the devotion to continue the reforms that Ukraine is doing. For Ukrainians and for many, I think Europeans, the word reforms seems already very boring, right? But at the same time, this is the key to make the prosperous life here. And this is the key to our independence. And many Ukrainians have this understanding already. And the war actually galvanized this understanding.
So you really think that anyone else could challenge Volodymyr Zełenski when it comes to elections next year?
Ukraine is a very vibrant democracy, and obviously there will be a lot of people who would like to step in the role of the president. So it's really very difficult to predict what will happen the next year. But, Churchill also did not continue being in his position after the war finished. So let's see how the things will go.
Of course. Asking questions about Ukrainian attitude towards Russia, it's now silly. It's pointless because it's obvious. But there is one piece of this complex puzzle of politics in our part of the world that is not as obvious. At least it is not obvious for me, and Ukrainian politicians made it not obvious for me. What Ukrainians think of Belarus right now? Because of course Belarus can be portrayed as an aggressor, and fair enough. Without Belarusian territory, aggression could not be conducted in such a way. But they are not aggressor in the same way as Russians.
I don't remember any polling on this matter. Obviously, there is the anger towards Belarus as the country for the reason that they provide so much support to Russia. But at the same time, I guess when I talk to Ukrainians, I see that they separate the politics of Belarus, which is in charge, where is in charge this, big dictator and, this very Soviet people who live with the past, the same as Putin. And actually they give orders, and they give permission to Russia to stay in the territory, to shell from their territory, to kill from their territory. But also we, separate the Belarusian people, many of whom want to be, they feel they're Europeans. They want to live in the European Union. Many of them, share the geography and, work in Poland, live in Poland, in Baltic states, and do not share the political prospects of Lukashenko. So obviously for us, it's a very complex image because on one hand, Belarusian people are, pro-peace people in many ways and pro-European people in many ways. But definitely, there is this very harsh, very outdated politics and very aggressive politics because it's like passive aggression. But also, obviously, there are some people who may support this too, who may enjoy Russian propaganda, may believe in this, Nazi story, mythology, or something like this. So obviously, Ukrainian politicians, they try to maintain this very difficult issue in such a way that to prevent Belarus joining Russia in fighting. And obviously we understand that many Belarusians, they did everything not to actually to sabotage the possible attack on Ukraine. So this is a very, very sensitive issue, a very, difficult one. But obviously, Ukraine is glad that Belarusian people did not join Russians in attack of Ukraine.
It is absolutely. It is very sensitive, and it is extremely important for the future, for the stability of the whole region. Of course, my last question has to be about Polish-Ukrainian relations, which experienced an incredible growth last year. Yes, it was in every dimension: human, strategical, economical. Every dimension of these relations grew. So, where should we go into the future? How should we look at the future of relations between Poland and Ukraine? How should we cooperate?
There was this improvement of the relations before the war because of understanding between President Zełenski and President Duda. There were some compromises and, some sensitive issues that have already been solved before the war started. But let me say that, Polish people are very close to Ukraine, and we are almost together in this war. So when this war started and so many millions of Ukrainians passed through the Polish territory, many of these Ukrainians stayed there. And the Polish people, they were seeing these broken lives. They were together enduring, with the people of Ukraine. These tragic moments, they were helping with medicine, they were helping with shelter, with food, with, provision of work. And I guess every, Polish understood, imagined how it would be if something like this happened in Warsaw, in Poland. And they understand that, if Ukraine fails, who is next, right? So this is in many ways is very emotional way. And these emotions are very difficult to pass to other Western countries, like, let's say, Italy or Germany or France that are further. I'm not saying we, don't enjoy their support, but with Poland and Ukraine, this is very, very personal thing. This is people to people thing. And I was in Poland for many times, and I see this devotion. I think this war and this common situation, tragical situation, it helped to pass through some historical traumas that our people had. It doesn't mean that everything is forgiven, but it means that we understand if we want to build a future, we need to find the way to pass this and to understand each other. And if we bring this unity and understanding in the future, this will make us very, very strong neighbors. And this is exactly what is needed when we face so many outside challenges. And I guess Ukraine and Poland can create in the future a lot of great things which will help both countries in economic, political way, which will help both countries to become stronger.
Well, the main difference between Poland and the western part of the West is that we don't really have to imagine what it is like to be at your position. We just have to open the history book or talk with some relatives, and that's a huge difference. Iullia, thank you very much.
Yeah, I was having in mind, but just did not make outspoken.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We share very much similar experiences when it comes to, especially when it comes to our eastern neighbor from Moscow. Iullia, thank you very much for your time. I hope that we'll have opportunity to talk again in the future, and all the best for you. Stay safe. All the best for you and all your family and loved ones. Thank you very much once again.
Martin, thank you for having me. Have a good one.